What's up, guys? We are back. Fitness Profit Multiplier, Anthony and Jimmy. Today, we're going to be discussing getting more clients by being more strict, more stringent. I'm trying to look for a really aggressive word, but I can't find that one right now. But basically by auditing your time. So auditing your time is going to get you more clients, and I'm going to explain all this in a second. But the main thing, guys, we have big news. June 22nd at 1 p.m. we're hosting our first live masterclass, and we're going to be teaching you how to max out your small group personal training facility in 90 days. So head on over to fitnessprofitmultiplier.com/webinar to save your seat. But how is auditing your time going to get you more clients? That's the ultimate question you probably ask, right? You need more clients. You want more clients. So we have to look at the tasks that you're doing on a daily basis, because if you're not at the level that you want to be at and you're working all these hours, chances are you're working on the wrong things. So we need to make sure you're working on the right things in order to do this. So Jimmy, have you ever done a time audit before? I'm just curious.
Yes, sir. I do it probably once a quarter or so. I'm about to the time where I got to start doing it again. But yeah, it's like, I know you guys are all fitness people and everybody has different nutritional strategies, but it's like when you stop tracking your macros and then you start tracking your macros again. It's like, holy crap, am I really eating that much fat and not eating enough protein? Am I really screwing up my diet that bad? Like every time I go back to tracking my macros and every time I go back to time auditing, I'm like, am I really spending this much time on YouTube or on Instagram or doing bullshit around the gym, like bullshitting with members or doing an administrative task? Like, am I really spending that much time doing that? What the heck am I doing, right? So yes, and it works.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we got to figure out where your time is. And the best is, I love when people say, oh, I'm working all the time. And then you look at their phone and they spend 5 hours a day on Instagram. And people laugh, but it happens. You know, take your phone right now and do an audit on your phone. You can look up the data. I think what it's called in the phone right now. I don't remember. For some reason, I'm going blank.
If you have an iPhone, it's a screen time. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sure there's something for Android as well. But you check the screen time and you look at how many apps you're using. And it's wild. It's wild how much time you waste on all these different things. It's just weird. It's a weird thing. But once you come to the realization, like, holy Hannah, what am I doing? You really start to regain your time back. And now you could really start focusing on the things that are going to give you that exponential growth that you're looking for. So for example, instead of spending 5 hours on Instagram, and I know what you're probably thinking too, it's like, okay, well, you know, I look at it when I'm in the bathroom. I look at it when I have downtime. Chances are you don't have downtime to it and you're just addicted to looking at it. So we got to replace those things with other habits that are going to get you clients. So instead of being on Instagram for 5 hours scrolling, set a time in your phone to, okay, I'm going to scroll through Instagram at 9 o'clock. I don't know. I'm going to scroll through Instagram at 9 o'clock, 9 to 9:30 or whatever it is. You're free to just scroll or watch YouTube videos or whatever you want to do. And after that time, then you shift and you go right into something else. Now you block that time for an activity that you like or are addicted to, whatever you want to do. And you're going to replace the remaining half of that time with something that's way more productive for getting you clients. So what are the things that you need to do to get clients? Well, you need to focus on marketing. So let's just say this person is arguably spending 3 hours a day on Instagram. I don't know. I just kind of making numbers up. But if we cut that down to an hour of you scrolling on Instagram and the remaining 2 hours you put into marketing, do you think that if you spent 2 hours marketing your business that you wouldn't grow from doing that? Now, how did we figure out that? We figured it out by doing a time audit. So how do you do a time audit? Very simple. You set up a calendar, time you wake up, time you go to bed, and you set it up in 15-minute blocks. And every 15 minutes, you just pencil in what you're doing. And you just mark it down as you're doing. Okay, I have a meeting here, I have a meeting there. Like, you kind of fill in your gaps of stuff, like, you know, family time is here, you know, and you just look at it and really audit everything you're doing. And you'd be surprised how time gets away from you. And you're kind of like, oh, I don't have time to do anything. And then you look at this and you're like, wow, I'm wasting a lot of time. Like Jimmy said, if your goal is to grow your gym, you shouldn't be spending 10 hours a week on admin tasks and billing people. Pass that off and focus on growing your gym. Go ahead, Jimmy. I spoke a little bit too much on this, but go ahead.
Hey, that's normally me on the podcast when a little question and I go off like crazy. But yeah, I have done it plenty of times in the past. I actually do it by the half hour, but the 15 minutes, sometimes tasks take you 15 minutes and you have to be aware of that 15-minute interval, because it's the death by 1,000 cuts, guys. It's not this, oh, these big, like even when you look at your expense report, right? It's like you're more likely to spend a lot more money in life in your personal budget by going out to dinner regularly than you are by making that big purchase one time, right? It's the habits that we form on a regular basis that kill our productivity and kill our ability to grow our gyms. So we have to look at our time like we look at our money. And some of you guys don't even look at your money that strictly, which is another thing we got to talk about. But that's for a different podcast. So we have to audit it in relation to what is that time's value as well. So we talked a couple episodes ago about your hourly rate and what that looks like from a perspective of what the value of your hours are. And if the value of your hours are worth trading for Instagram scrolling, then more power to you. But I think you'd much rather spend that time either with your family or growing your business. So I know we're talking about Instagram addiction and we're kind of focused on that, but it could be anything in your business. It could be tasks that are not as meaningful to the top line of your business or to the scaling of it, like an admin task here or there, cleaning the bathrooms, checking the nuts and bolts on equipment, ordering stuff for the gym, like consumables, replacing the paper towels, like these little things that you find yourself doing on a regular basis would be much better spent building the advertising that's going to drive the funds into your business, so that instead of cleaning the bathroom, you can put another butt in a seat in a sales meeting, make more income, leverage that time. And then the time that you were spending changing the toilet paper is an hour that you could have been at home instead of being at the gym, and you could have been at home with your son throwing a baseball with him, right? Like, how much better does that sound? But it starts with the
Or
time.
having tea with your daughter.
Or having tea with your daughter. Yes, exactly. I know your son's maybe not old enough to, maybe he's throwing. He's got an arm on him. He's that little guy.
Yeah, he does. He does.
But tea with your daughter. Anthony would rather have nail polish on his nails and blush on his cheeks, drinking tea out of a plastic cup, fake tea, with a teddy bear sitting next to him and his daughter sitting on the other side, than he would be changing paper towel at the gym. And he was able to do that through time blocking, through delegating, and through actually figuring out what the valuable tasks are in his gym. So if you want that, it starts with the time block.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys aren't doing that, you need to pause this episode and go and do that today. Start it this week. It's a little bit tedious when you first do it. Jimmy, wait, I just have a question for you. How do you do it? Because there's two ways to do it. You could kind of like put the previous week in, if you remember, or you could do like a running day where it's like, okay, I'm starting on Monday, and you just log everything on Monday, log everything on Tuesday, kind of log it as it happens. How do you do it? Because there's two ways that I know that you could do it. Like I said, just kind of
I find that personally, for me, it works better in one of two ways. One of the ways is pre-planning it and then executing it works for me, as well as doing it as I go, right? So doing it after the fact is hard because I'm like, oh, where did that time go? because that's where the problem lies. Like you do it after the fact and you're like, at least in my mind, where does the time go? Oh, I don't even remember where the time went. So I think the best way to do it is probably doing it as a running total, or doing it as a daily, like end of day practice, where you're like, okay, my day is done. I got to do my time block. What did I do here? What did I do there? Because you're not going to, unless you're on a strict diet, you're not going to remember what you had for lunch 2 days ago, right? So I like it as a running deal or a daily.
Yeah, awesome. All right, guys, make sure before you hop off on this, you head on over to fitnessprofitmultiplier.com/webinar for our webinar that we're putting on June 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, you don't want to miss it. We're going to talk about how to grow your gym and max out your small group personal training program. So until next time, Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier, we are out.